This is Lucas with Serosia.
I feel a war fast approaching like a storm. Takes away from all I see. Taking you away, I am complete. Breaking you away is obsolete.
Well, we began in 2007 and have pretty much been rocking out regionally and nationally ever since. We've got 4 EPs under our belt, and we're riding on the 5th one now. I mean, as far as what our music is about, we've always tried to be kind of different than everyone in the fact that it means something deeply, as opposed to, just a love song or, I hate my dad or something like that. We really go for the consciousness expansion. Always been really key in our music because having emotions tied to that and seeing the live performance, you can actually see that it's what we mean, because when we perform, the music kind of comes through us and bleeds through, so the lyrics are really deep and intentional. So we're really fans of emotional music, and I always say that that's our genre. It's just emotional, not emo, emotional as in we really do care about what we're saying. It's definitely a collaboration, and that's pretty much every single song. And we really like to experiment with different songwriting. I guess, what would be the best word? We do different templates for songs. So the song The Architect, which is on Variables, our newest EP, that was written as a vocal idea. The melody wasn't even done. It was just kind of like we had lyrics. We knew we wanted it to be about creating the world around you was kind of where it started. And we all sat down without instruments and wrote around the idea, got some rough vocals, and then worked out a melody with our voices. And we said we want it kind of like this. Then we took the instruments and started writing there. So that was interesting, and that was a full-on band experience, so that was really fun. And most of the time, we do the riff thing. A riff comes in, and it's hard to deny, and we write a skeleton around that, and then everybody kind of changes it up as we go and adds little things and subtracts things here and there. And then the producer comes in and screws it all up. Yeah, well, we, in 2009, recorded a record in New Jersey with Tim Gillis. And that was originally supposed to be done with Cristian Machado and Laz Pina, who is now our manager. And it's funny how it all went about. Long story short, we had been talking to the guys from Nino since we started in 2007. They heard our record and liked it a lot, and had been talking throughout the years about doing a record with them and please come out here and do this. And we always wanted to. It was just a matter of finances and we had already made a commitment with the one studio in Jersey before they had made their offer. So when we finally had an opportunity to do it, we took hold of it and got out there. And we knew, Cristian had like a very solid idea of where he wanted it to go, and it was right on the same exact wavelength as us. So from the beginning, there was no talk of you're going to be our manager, or he was telling us he wanted to manage us. It was he liked our songs, and we did about 6 to 8 months of pre-production with the songs. So when we came into the studio, everybody knew and was comfortable with it. So that made all of us really comfortable. We could kind of freestyle how we wanted at that point. So as we were playing and recording the songs in the studio, it was apparent that Cristian was like a fifth member of the band, really apparent. And with his, exposure and who he is in the music scene and internationally, we knew it was going to be a good thing for us, like a really good thing. And that has been very helpful in the national attention. He set up our PR company with us, together, and it's been moving solidly ever since. I've said this quite a bit, and the best piece of information he's given us was to stay real. And that's one of the selling points of our band, is that we come from the heart. And in a business that's cutthroat, where a lot of things are changed around, to cater to certain crowds, our thing is to just be ourselves. And he said that is our best part of our band. And what's really cool about that is he's internationally known, and he's got all these great songs and records under his belt. And to say just be you rather than to just try and change us, that was awesome for us to hear, because we've always had that fear that once it got to that national level, we were going to need to in some way conform in order to move to the next rung. And at this point, we've still been able to do exactly what we wanted, and with his producing, it's only taken us to the next level. We really enjoyed all of the ideas that he had, and he works in a similar way that we do creatively, so it worked out really good. We knew that we wanted to get a national at the tail end of this year, 2013, and we had thrown some names around. Sevendust was always like right there as one of the best ones that could happen, and there's a lot of business that goes into getting these kinds of things set up. So knowing Cristian and knowing that he and Sevendust had worked together previously on an Nino record. Actually, Clint Lowry had produced one of the tracks on their record. They had a communication open between them. And then with Joseph, he had previously played in the band Never Said, and they toured with Sevendust. So they also had an open communication with Sevendust. So we had those several hands in the bucket. And we had a month there where there was so much weird interaction that just started happening without anybody, setting it up between Sevendust. It just felt right, and it's kind of how it happened. It just came about one day. We got a text from Cristian that said he had talked to Clint. Clint heard the record and he really dug it and wanted to get us on a tour, so we set it up from there and got all the details hammered out. It was definitely a different level of business as usual. We've always had a really strong work ethic, and when we practice, we actually have, a to-do list. We take care of business every practice, and we get stuff done, on a checklist kind of system. And as soon as we set up the tour, there's so much that goes into that, young bands probably would have no idea, because I've been in the music business for a long time, and there was a lot of things that came up that I wasn't prepared for. So, we just did what we normally do, make a checklist of everything, and it became something that had to be on like almost an hourly basis, because there was so much that went into it. But everybody knew that it was going to be a really good exposure for us, because we found out a couple days after it confirmed that we were going to be main support as well, and that just brought it to a whole another level. And we were like, we got to come out swinging, and the first time people see us, they're going to have to be able to remember us. So we definitely accomplished that out there. We felt incredible. We were so lucky to have been accepted the way we were, and really there's no better feeling than to go out on a tour like that. Growing up, some of our idols were Sevendust, and we're like main support for them. We come out on stage and the crowd is already going crazy because they, trust that Sevendust has brought a good band on, and then we come out and deliver our show. And every night we had, rousing applause after every song. I mean, the entire set was taken extremely well, exactly how we wanted it to. And, with any band, you perform better when you're in a big place with a big audience. But us specifically, it's what lights our fire, it just gets us going. And we would walk on stage every single night to a crowd kind of going crazy. So it's kind of what you look for. It helped us out a lot. There's a lot. As far as musically, you get tighter just by playing every day. I mean, that's just a given. And being on tour and having, to perform in front of that many people every night, you get to a point where it's a machine. And every night, you don't have to plan it out. That Derek's going to do this thing here, or Joseph's going to do this here. And little nuances happen, and then they get repeated every night. And it's really cool because it's like a new part of the song that happened. So that's really cool, and we took that away. We learned the ins and outs of the little things that are before and after the shows, and dealt with some members of the crew. That was fun. But outside of that, yeah, everything went really smooth, and it was a good time. Right now, I mean, we're constantly writing. Every rehearsal, somebody brings a new idea. Just 2 nights ago, I came up with just this, in my opinion, epic chorus. You always feel like what you're writing is the best thing you've ever had. So we've got, I would say, 9 to 12, somewhere in there, of great ideas right now, probably 5 or 6 skeletons. And we've already got plans for, industry kind of EP that we're going to release amongst the higher ups, and hopefully, get some more attention and open up some more tours. And our goal is a label. I mean, even though it's one of those things that everybody is kind of like looking down upon nowadays, if it's done right, it can still be, extremely successful for you. And we want that kind of exposure. We're not looking to go indie or, do it on our own. It's fun to do it on your own, and it's possible, but we want the major exposure right off the bat. This is Lucas with Serosia, and you are jamming out with On Tour Monthly.